Howdy y'all. Blizzard gave us a beta build yesterday and said they were going on break for the long weekend just to give us another one this morning with even more Guardian Druid buffs. So we got a pretty big one today, so we figured we'd put out another video. So here we go. So it turns out maybe Blizzard was actually keeping an eye on just how far down in the dumps Druid's damage was. They threw a 50% aura buff to Druid's bear form spells. For those of you who don't follow really closely how Blizzard handles tuning, these aura buffs are how they can turn the knob up or down on a large batch of spells at the same time. This specific knob turned up the damage on Maul, Mangle, Thrash, and Swipe, and the healing of the tier set. It importantly did not turn up the damage on Moonfire, which is coded under a different aura. So, while these damage buffs are significant, they don't amount to a 50% buff overall to the spec. We'll get a little more into the numbers about where I think this currently lands Druid in just a minute. Pulverize also benefited from the aura buff, as well as a separate 40% buff. Unfortunately, its position on the bottom left portion of the tree and the general inflexibility of the Druid talent tree means it probably won't make the cut in single target or AoE. Reinforced Fur increases the value of Iron Fur by twice as much now, and Scintillating Moonlight causes Moonfire to reduce damage dealt to you by 10% instead of 4%. That second one in particular is a significant durability buff to a tank that wasn't really hurting that much in the survivability department. It also makes putting 2 points into Scintillating Moonlight not feel nearly as bad. The last change was a really large buff to the After the Wildfire talent. This talent was one that recently got moved from the capstone area up to the 8 to 20 point range when the Moonfire talents got shifted around. The talent heals for 4 times as much as before and heals everyone within 12 yards of you when you spend 200 rage. I could absolutely see a situation where you take this in raid and line up your rage usage so that just as a big burst of AoE damage goes out, you hit the final Iron Fur to tick over 200 rage and drop 1,000,000 healing on the raid instantly. Literally 1,000,000. There's definitely the possibility for some cool gameplay around that. I played around with it a little bit in Mythic Plus today, and taking it requires you to likely drop both Soul of the Forest and Blood Frenzy due to the path you have to take to get there. And when the heal goes off in the dungeon, it was definitely a big heal, but trying to manage rage usage to have it proc when you most need it would be a huge pain in the ass. Playing the talent without playing around it resulted in doing almost 83% overhealing, which definitely reduced its usefulness. I could see some cool interactions with this talent in raid, but I doubt I'll run it in Mythic Plus. So the funniest thing to me about all these changes is that they're huge buffs, and they ultimately end up just bringing Druid roughly in line with the other tanks on damage. Other than Brewmaster. Brew's damage has to be getting nerfed, right? Anyway, for the time being, Moonfire will make up a smaller portion of your overall damage, and your tier set will probably now make up a bigger portion of your overall healing. I say for the time being because this was a really coarse, large adjustment. I suspect that Blizzard did it because they knew Druid needed help, but they also probably wanted a lot more data to help them dial in the spec. I expect there will be some additional fine-tuning, and I wouldn't be surprised if Guardian Druid gave back a little bit of this power in the coming weeks. That's probably enough for now. But happy Bearmas? Or, I don't know. Someone needs to take this microphone away from me.